Hello, my friends. Happy Wednesday. It's Jill here in my empowered fitness community for women over 40, looking to get energized, confident, and strong. I'm sorry I'm 2 minutes late today. I have to hop in the shower. I got caught up writing an amazing blog post that I'm super, super proud of because it's actually a collaboration blog post with so many of my current clients in my Empowered Fitness Mastery program. And we'll get into that a little bit later as we answer questions about fitness, nutrition, hormone health, weight loss, weight gain, menopause, all the things. I'm so glad to have you here today. If today is your first Wednesday in our Empowered Fitness community for women over 40, welcome. Every Monday, I do a Monday motivation pep talk. And every Wednesday, I do a live Q&A at noon Eastern. And so the rest of the week, you'll see posts from me and offers from me to join me in so many different ways. I'll be in your inbox and you might be in mine. Don't be afraid to answer me back if I say hi. And you always have the opportunity. Hi, Jody, Janie, Janice, Sharon. You always have the opportunity to book a free call with me where you and I can dig deep into getting to know one another, and I can understand where you're at right now and where you want to be and what's been holding you back and what's going to propel you forward. And that has a lot to do with what we do in our Q&A session. The way that I get my Q&A questions together is that when you join our group here, I ask a few questions about what's holding you back, what you want to achieve. And if you could ask me a question, what would it be? And I take those answers and we work on those during our Q&A sessions. In the meantime, if you have any questions that come up while we're here live or afterwards, you can always comment, you can email me, you can message me, you can give me a ring if you want. However you want to get in touch is cool with me. I love to hear from you because that means that you're thinking, you're acting, you're wanting to get answers, and you're taking steps forward. And that is my biggest thing in life, is that if you want something and you are not taking steps forward to go get it, then shame on you. You're not going to get it. So you deserve everything that you want, and you can have everything that you want if you take the steps to get it and you work relentlessly for as long as it takes, okay? So that's what I teach my kids, and that's the example that I set. So we're gonna get right into it here with some questions. So Anne, I know she just recently joined, maybe yesterday or this morning, and she also booked a call today. So I'm so glad. I was chatting back and forth a little bit with Anne this morning, and she booked a call. So she and I are speaking, I think, on Friday, and she said that her goal is to get lean and muscular. I love that. I like being lean and muscular too. It makes me feel very proud. And so she says, how do I control it all? And so that's really interesting because this is a time in life where we really feel like we got no control, right? I feel a little bit out of control right now because I've got some things going on in my body, and I'm addressing those with my doctor, and I'm very excited to get everything back on track and under control. But things are going haywire. So the best thing we can do is to, number one, educate ourselves, right? And know more about what's going on and research. And I love reading books. When I say reading, I mean listening, because I think that for me, walking or running or driving or whatever it is, and listening at the same time and doing that multitasking while I can also get my steps in is way better than sitting down and reading where my dogs jump on me and my kids ask me for food, and it's just, that doesn't happen. So number one is educating yourself, and that's something that I went as far as getting a certification in menopausal metabolism and advanced female hormones. And so now I like to educate and I like to help you understand, why are things not working when they used to? And what is happening to me? And why is my body changing when I'm not doing anything different? And so number one, like I said, is knowledge. Knowledge is power. And so I have many ways in which I teach you. I coach my clients. I offer workshops and podcasts and books and science and small little pieces, like in my 5-day menopause makeover, where I have little 10-minute videos for 5 days that really give you so much on the 5 pillars that I think are the most important drivers of having symptoms, seeing weight gain, feeling miserable, and absolving all of those things. And that is fitness, right? Having a strong fitness routine, the right fitness routine, nutrition, focusing on adding the right foods and maybe leaving some of the things out that aren't serving us anymore. We've got stress management, which is massively more important now than it was ever before. We've got our sleep, which is sleep and recovery, which is also way more important than it ever was. Maybe in college you could survive on 4 or 5 hours, but now it ain't working like that. And something that we call either supplementation or hormone replacement therapy, or they're now calling it all kinds of different hormone therapy, because we're not looking to replace, we're looking to manage and have what we need to feel our best. And so these 5 pillars, really learning them, understanding them, knowing the questions we should be asking, knowing the things we need to be observing on a daily basis and focusing on improving, it truly helps you feel like you're way better in control than prior. So number 1 is the knowledge. And then number 2 is taking action. And like I said, you have to take consistent action. This is like the rest of your life thing. It's not like if I do this for a week or 2, everything's going to be fixed and then I'll be fine. This is literally, because you're a woman, this is the rest of your life. And so you have to learn and kind of get really good at these things and then be willing to see them through for the most part, knowing there's going to be exceptions. There's going to be nights where you don't sleep great. There's going to be times where there's occasions where you eat a little more. There's going to be times where you can't get your workout in. But when we do things for the majority of the time, our body will positively respond, okay? And then another part of it, right? So we've got the knowledge, we've got the action, and a huge part is the mindset and how we view this time in our lives. And I recently did a really interesting blog post. If you go to jillortizfitness.com/blog, there was an interesting one that I did recently about how people of different cultures, they experience menopause differently. So let me see, it's called Why Some Women Suffer Through Menopause for Years While Others Barely Notice It. I did it it's a February 12th, and it's super interesting based on research that I did, and very interesting because a lot of it is the mindset and the culture, our culture. And so that's super interesting. For those of you who are interested, right below that one is the truth about protein. Too much, too little, and how much is just right. So that's another good one. Okay, so coming back here to our questions. Hold on one second, I gotta find my spreadsheet again. And hello everybody. Hi Stephanie, miss you girl. All right, so hopefully that answered Anne's question, and then she and I are gonna talk on Friday, and I'm gonna be asking her a little bit about her life and getting to know her. She can get to know me, and if we feel like it's a good fit, then we can discuss options to work together. But there's no pressure, okay? I don't like high pressure sales. It gives me migraines. All right, Sherry, welcome Sherry to our group. She says she would like to lose 15 pounds. She said she's lost 65 already and kept it off for 5 years. Congratulations, Sherry. So this sounds like the last 15 pounds is giving you a little bit of a harder time than those first 65, which it is easier to lose weight when we have a lot of weight to lose, much harder towards the end. So she says she's been dieting lately, but not losing weight. So this is where we go back to those 5 pillars, right? So we've got 5 pillars at this point in life that have to be in alignment. It's not just the nutrition and dieting, which to me sounds like restriction, is not always the answer either, right? So we don't want to be dieting. We just want to be eating via a healthy framework that we know will get us to our goals, right? And so if we're following a framework that we know will move us towards our goals, then we don't have to say we're like on a diet. It doesn't have to be restrictive. It can include foods you love and not make you feel like hangry and annoyed that you can't eat in certain things. But so nutrition. So we have 4 other pillars that, Sherry, we should talk about, right? The fitness, the sleep, the stress, and your supplementation or hormones. So we might be missing something there, right? So we got one thing we're trying to do, but we don't even know if we're doing it right? Because if you were eating properly, then that is going to possibly move your scale up or down. And it's kind of like, how long have you been doing this? Do we need to change something up? Because the body is like super, super smart. And the body likes to adjust to what you're doing. So if you eat less, your body's going to say, let's cut the metabolism speed down. If you eat a lot more, your metabolism might speed up a bit more. And so your body kind of adjusts to what we're doing. So we need to switch it up here and there, okay? And change things around. So Sherry, let's book a call. Let's do this together. Let's figure it out, okay? We've got Karen, who says that what's holding her back is menopause, and she told me this morning that she's got a pending knee surgery. She said she's on Ozempic and can't get below 239 pounds. That is a big red flag to me, because if you are on a weight loss medication and you have that much weight to lose, it should be coming off. So there's something, again, in those other 4 pillars, because likely, although sometimes those who are on weight loss drugs are not eating enough at all, right? And so that can create a vicious cycle. If you are taking enough medication where you've completely lost your appetite and you're like really not eating, or you're not eating healthy foods that your body can process well, then your body is, again, your metabolism is going to slow down, and you're not going to have enough energy to be getting exercise. And especially if there's a pending knee surgery, are you doing the right exercise? And so at that point, it's kind of like, are we in this vicious cycle where a weight loss drug isn't even going to help you at all and may not be the thing that you need, right? We need a different plan. And again, that only addresses one thing. It only addresses the food. You still have fitness, sleep, stress, and your hormones / supplementation, right? So we have to make sure we're looking at this on a more global scale, which is why when a lot of people say to me, oh, I'm going to go to a personal trainer, and then I'm going to start with a nutritionist or a dietitian, and all these different people, it's kind of like, well, are they all working together and talking to each other? Because if you have a plan from this person, that person, and they don't all align, then you can still stay stuck, right? And so that's why I do all of the pillars, and that's why I just keep educating myself more and more. So for those of you who are new here, I am a NASM certified personal trainer. I am a bone health and osteoporosis certified coach. I am a menopausal metabolism coach, and I have several certifications in many different nutrition frameworks, and amongst other things, Olympic weightlifting and HIIT treadmill running and all kinds of fun stuff that I've gotten over the years. Okay, let's move on. So Sharon didn't tell me much. She simply said that what's holding her back is time. And I don't like time as an excuse, because we all have the same amount of time in the day, and we all have to prioritize what's really important to us. And so if getting to your goals and being your healthiest self is important, then we will make time. Otherwise, we will waste a lot of time generally. And so we don't need a lot of time for things, right? We can save ourselves time by doing meal prep and having a solid plan, and maybe even having somebody tell us, here, just do this, instead of us like wasting our time trying to figure it out. I have workout programs that are 10 to 15 minutes a day. I mean, that's not a lot of time. If you can't delegate something out of your life and make 10 to 15 minutes to get your body moving the way that it needs to if you want to get to your goals, right? So nobody's getting toned and tight and losing weight without making some effort. So 10, 15 minutes a day, if that's all you can spare, I've got a program for you, but you've got to be able to be willing to make the time for it. So we got to kind of shift things around and maybe get better at time management, okay? Sorry, that's just kind of tough love. All right, Leanne says that's what's holding her back is high stress and an overload of responsibilities. So kind of same thing. There were 4 Ds. I was doing a networking meeting years ago, and this woman said 4 Ds, and I always say, I don't know if I can remember if it was 3 or if it was 4, let me figure it out. So if you have so much stuff and it's overload, then you have to start looking at the 4 Ds. One is delay, right? What does not need to be done today, right? So, is it sweeping and vacuuming and doing laundry and something that doesn't really matter, dusting, right? Are there things at your life that you can delay to tomorrow, and that's not really going to kill anybody, right? So you've got delay, you've got delete. Are there things that straight up don't serve you that you're doing that you gotta just stop doing them, right? So your neighbor who's always asking you if you want to go for a walk, and she's super slow and she's super gossipy and it's really not a good thing for you, just stop doing it, right? Focus on the things that you really, really want to do and really, really need to do. So we've got delay, delete. We've got delegate, which means somebody else can do that stuff, right? So my son just came in and he said, "Can you make me lunch?" And I said, "No." So I'm doing Q&A. You can either wait for me a half hour, or you could do it yourself, or ask daddy to do it, right? So sometimes I just say, no, I don't have time for that. So you do it yourself. I mean, the kid's almost 15. He could do it himself. He just likes when I do it. And I mean, that's part of showing mommy love, right? So delay, delete, delegate, and there's another one, and I have no idea what it is right now. So, but those 3 are good enough, right? So high stress, Leanne, will kill you. It'll kill you in this thing. So we got to figure out, how do we delay, delete, delegate, and whatever that other D is, do those things with some of this responsibility, ask for help if we need to, and take time for you. Because if you don't, what happens is, number one, your body's going to go haywire, right? When I'm in high stress, I get migraines, and then my migraines knock me out. Then I'm no good to anybody with a migraine, right? Or your immune system is going to go like not help you anymore, and you'll get sick, and then you're no help to anybody. Or you're going to be snapping at people, and then nobody's going to want to talk to you and help you, you know? And so the stress, the problem with that is that stress causes our bodies to release cortisol. And cortisol is good for us when we are in dangerous situations. It helps us with that fight or flight response. But if we're constantly stressed out, then we constantly have an overload of cortisol, and that starts to affect our other systems, our adrenals, you know, our ability to think, and our body is like either in stress mode or weight loss mode. So it's not going to be doing both of those, right? And so there's a lot of long-term damage that can be done if we're constantly in a state of stress. So taking that time for you to pull back sometimes. I've even had business mentors and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I just like talk and I'll be like stressing out and like just dumping everything that's on my brain. And I'll be like, I have so much stuff to do and I don't know how I'm going to get it all done, and blah, 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 blah. And they'll be like, "Jill, just leave and go for a walk." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have so many things that I have to do." And they're like, "You got to calm down." You got to de-stress, because you're not going to be able to do anything if your brain is on fire, right? And so go for a 10-minute walk. Like, nobody's going to die if you go for a 10-minute walk. And I'm like, okay, you know, Jill, you're going crazy. Take a day off and go do something that makes you happy, right? So sometimes we have to take a step back in order to move forward, right? We have to settle ourselves, maybe make lists, maybe brain dump, and then figure out how to move forward from there. All right. But we can't be stressed all the time. We can't constantly be full of too much responsibility. We need to manage it and ask for help. Okay. So Leanne's question is, I used to lose weight easily and now it won't budge. Why? Because you're in a state of stress and overload, and you're at the age where we can't have that and lose weight. That's it. It works in your 20s, it works maybe in your 30s, it doesn't work in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It just doesn't. It's just nature now. And the reason is because our reproductive hormones, they decline. And so there's 2 major ones: One is going to be estrogen, which is our fat storage management hormone, and progesterone, which is our stress management hormone. And so when those things decline, in like your 40s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, right? And it's different for everybody. We don't have the helpers that used to help us with this stuff. And so we have to take over, and we have to do the things that are going to help us better, because nobody's helping us. Okay. So that's why you can't pretend like the same stuff is going to work now and that you're going to stay who you were. And I said this to somebody the other day. It's kind of like when you were 12 turning 13 and your body started to, like, you grew boobs and hips and a butt, and nobody's like, how do I stop this? I mean, maybe girls feel that way, but we don't tell our daughters, like, we're going to have to bind you up and we're going to have to make you do more cardio, and, and you got to stop eating, It's just a natural part of life. And so kind of like when we're at this age and our body is changing again, shifts happen, right? Shifts happen. And we can do some things to help ourselves, and other things are just nature. And we have to just focus on the great part of being at this stage in life. Like when I see my kids having to do their homework, math and language and all the stuff they do. I mean, I've done a lot of education too. I'm like, oh, thank God I don't have to do all that homework every day like they do, Just celebrate where you're at and where you're going and what you can accomplish and what you have accomplished, right? And let's find joy in what we can control, okay? All right, next we have Shane, good old Shane from PA, who used to be in our program. So Shane says laziness is holding her back, and that is one of my biggest, I don't know if it's pet peeve, but like, I can't help somebody who just says I'm lazy, right? You got to get unlazy, you got to do the work. I mean, for me, I've worked hard my whole life to get what I wanted to get, and if I was lazy, I wouldn't have gotten it. Right. And so you can't expect to get anything if you're just going to be lazy. But she says she's returning to her healthier lifestyle, and she's going back to the tools that I've taught her. And so that's good, because that shows a shift of mindset and its potential. And maybe if we haven't been living up to our potential recently or to date, but we find desire, then we can lock in. All we have to do is get the knowledge, get the action plan, take the action, and keep taking the action and reap the rewards and find joy in it and share that with other people. And that will really change that sense of feeling lazy, right? But until you're ready to come to the table, what can I do? All I can do is have you show up here and listen, But until you feel like, okay, it's time to take action, you got to just like draw a line in the sand and be like, I'm not okay being that way. I'm ready for change. And then you have to take that action. Okay. All right. Heather says motivation is holding her back. Motivation is not holding you back, Heather. A plan and action is holding you back. You have your motivation. I know you do. There's motivation in there. And if I asked you 10 questions and I kept asking you, why is this important? Why is that important? And what do you want to feel? And how is that going to change your life? And how is that going to bring you joy? And how is staying the same going to bring you misery? And what happens if you continue down that path? I 100% know that you will be able to answer those questions. So you're not lacking motivation. You're lacking a plan and taking action on that plan, which puts us in a higher state of more positive energy and desire to continue to do the things that make us happy and excited. And we will get ourselves out of that feeling of not wanting to do anything, right? So Heather asks, how do you make it all come together? Simplicity, right? What is that thing they always say? KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? So simplicity. It is not a billion modules and a ton of stuff to learn. What it is simple steps to take daily, right? And we have to hit the pillars, but we have to maybe start slow, ramp it up, make it manageable at first, and keep going. And what I like to do is start people with not like, here's your 6-month plan, or here's your plan for the next, 3 months or month or anything. I do 5 days to start, or 3 days, right? Here's your first 3 workouts. Get them done. They're 15 minutes and do them in the next 5 to 7 days, right? I'll give you 5 to 7 days to get 3 workouts on. And if you get 3 done in the first 3 days, I'll give you more if you want more, right? And here's a 5-day meal plan. It's super simple. I tell you exactly what's on the shopping list and how to make the recipes. And, and I show you the menu, and it's really, really simple. And so we start small. And then once you've achieved that and you're like, oh, I can do this, then we start to add a little bit more. And along the way is encouragement and accountability and love and support. And that is huge in building momentum. So bringing it all together, sometimes it's just taking small little steps to start. And so one thing that I actually added to my website just yesterday is, I think a lot of you were around a few weeks ago when I ran my triple threat challenge, which is such a fun challenge, and we all had a blast, and I had such a great time teaching these 3 little workouts. They were only 15 minutes, and it was only $17. It's still available if you want to buy it, and you can keep it forever. But what I did was I added this as a free, it's totally free now, you got no excuse, 3-day trial into my monthly fitness subscription on my website. And so that's kind of like an online gym. And it includes a lot of the same programs that my clients do. But we start with this little 3 workout challenge. And it works well because you get a free 3-day trial in that subscription. And then what happens is if you don't like it and you're like, I don't want to do this, then you just cancel. Otherwise, it rolls you into a either weekly or monthly or 3-month, 6-month, 12-month subscription to then continue on with the next fitness program. Now, you're not doing it with me. I'm not coaching you through it. They're available, all the workouts. And so you have to have, if you're doing it that way, you have to have some sense of accountability to yourself and self motivation. I forget what that's called. I'm self-motivated, I guess so. And so if you're somebody who can do that, be given the plan and just do it and stick to it. I know my client Beverly, she's amazing at that because I get a notification at like 5 a.m. every morning that Beverly did a workout. If you're good at that, then this might be a good solution for you, and you can try it that way. You can try the free 3-day trial. If that's not where you're at, you need more help, you need guidance, you want coaching, then we want to look at the Empowered Fitness Mastery Program. And we have a couple tiers of that. And with that, I would say set up a call so that we can talk about it and figure out what the right solution is for you. But I did include the link if you want to check out the monthly subscription and start with that free 3-day trial. Then doing that triple threat challenge, which is just the first workout program in the subscription, could be a good place to start. Just show yourself, I can commit to a challenge and get 3 workouts done in 5 to 7 days, and then move on and feel some building of that motivation. Okay. And then I think, Heather, too, in order to make things come together, you do have to build, and you have to keep challenging yourself to go beyond where you're at. Right. And so it's the progression that makes you level up, and that level up is huge, right? We want this to become who you are, not what you're doing. And I'll get into that in a second too. Let's finish. We got 2 more. Oh, we're almost there. 2 more. So Roya says she plateaued after losing 60 pounds and she's got 20 more to lose. So that's similar to Sherry from earlier. It's time to do something different, right? We have to keep on leveling up. So you've been doing well at this one level. It's time to go to the next level. Okay. Roya, we can talk about that if you book a call with me. And then we've got Sheila, who just joined right before I started this. That was why I was a couple minutes late too. She says, I don't know why, I just can't get it off, not even a few pounds. She wants to lose 30, so she's got pounds to lose. And she says, is this really possible I'm postmenopausal and I still have symptoms. So like I said, in that blog post I told you I wrote, some people, get all the symptoms for like 10 years, and other people like passes them and they're like, oh, like menopause, I hit it. I'm postmenopause now and I didn't even know it. And so, these days, and it has been forever, but it's now, they've removed the black box label from the HRT. Now you can get treatment, and there are many, many doctors and many companies out there who are willing to treat you based on symptoms, right? And so, not only do we have the hormone replacement, but supplementation and your lifestyle is gonna massively help you. So if we don't have that alignment of the fitness, the nutrition, the sleep, the stress, and the supplementation, then we can work on getting those things aligned, and that will help with the symptoms, which will then unlock, it's like a video game, unlock that level where you can start to lose your 30 pounds again. And what we want to do is we want to kind of like, if you see it through with a coach like myself, I'm going to help you make sure that we are seeing results. It shouldn't be week after week, 12 weeks go by and you saw no results. That would really concern me, right? So we want to see that and collaborate and talk about how we're getting to new places. So going back to Heather, this was the last thing. I told you I wrote a blog post this morning before I took my shower and then showed up 2 minutes late. I wanted to write a blog post today because one of the big things that my clients and I talked about last week was why people lose ground and go back to old habits even after they have achieved success. And I think this is a huge part of this journey. And what I said before is it's not doing the things you need to do, it's becoming the person who wants to do the things that will bring you success. And so I put the question to my clients last week as to why people tend to revert back to their old habits. And they did their research and they came back, and I wrote a blog post this morning, which I can link below. Actually, I could do that now. And I'll send it also. You'll be seeing it in my email that I send out with this recording. And I'll put it in the YouTube description as well. Hold on one second. Let me just post this link here. And it's the research that everybody brought. And not only the research, but the personal stories and their experiences, and how these things have affected them and what they've learned. And so it's really cool. I just linked the blog post. It's posting now. And I'm seeing your comments now. Janelle says it is very possible. Just listen to Jill, do the work, it will happen. Okay, so I've linked the blog post. And let me just go to the blog post now because I kind of highlighted throughout. So there's kind of like 5, we could call them pillars, 5 insights that it goes into detail about them as to why we lose ground. And this is all science-based. Number 1, your brain is designed to go back. And it was Lisa who said, old habits have the strength of 1,000 repetitions, of thousands of repetitions. Number 2, success can create complacency. So you get to your goal and you're like, okay, I arrived. Now I can go back to everything I used to do. And Angie said, after achieving success, people often think that they have beaten the habit, but they tend to go back. And even Brian Tracy, he's a known speaker and, what do you call that? Motivational speaker. He said success can lead to complacency, and complacency is the greatest enemy of success, right? We want to be striving for that up leveling like I talked about. Number 3, the brain loves familiarity, even when it's unhealthy, right? So it's easier to do the bad things that we are comfortable with than the new things that make us uncomfortable, that are good for us. Identity is greater than motivation, right? So your motivation can come in and out, but your identity has to be strong. Lisa said this. She said, before I wanted to lose weight, now I want to be strong and healthy. And so that is a big shift in the mindset, right? And you can see I included a picture here of Lisa in 32-degree weather. And number 5, relapse isn't failure, it's a signal. And so I wrote that viewing setbacks as total failure leads us to relapse and quitting. And the only way to not succeed in life is to quit, right? And so Angie was a big part in this one. She wrote, viewing setbacks as learning experiences and practicing self-forgiveness helps get back on track faster. And that's something that I am constantly coaching my clients in is we're not making mistakes. We're not messing up. We are gathering our learning experiences. And something that I learned a very long time ago was that the most successful people in the world have stumbled and failed the most because they've put themselves out there. And putting yourself out there and failing a million times is better than never putting yourself out there and never failing, because then you have no potential for success. And so we can't fear failure, and we can't not start because of the fear of failure. We have to embrace failure. And what Jen Sincero says is to feed fear a suck-it sandwich. I'll leave you with that today. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you on Monday for our Motivation Monday, and I hope to see you before then, whether it is on a Zoom call with me or in my inbox, or however you'd like to connect with me. Feel free to friend and follow me on all my social medias, and that's it. Bye, everybody.